Stixxay. Coming into this matchup, the top 2 damage per minute players were Bang and Stixxay. SKT, they're playing around Bang, and Bang is delivering. I think that CLG should return to their style where they draft around Stixxay, they play around him. There's a reason that all these international players were saying Stixxay was the best AD carry at this tournament.
So, a change here, Ezreal being banned, I think that's very smart, because when you want to run these range supports without a lot of CC, Ezreal is very scary to play against, because he can just jump around, play very aggressive, and Soraka can't do anything against him, so it's a smart ban. SKT leaving Ryze open and Maokai, basically telling CLG, we're going to trade. You get one, we get one.
I love this. Prioritizing the Maokai first and giving over the possible Ryze here, because Ryze, we've seen many times, you can stuff him in teamfights. If Maokai gets a root and there's a Soraka on the team, you layer that up with a silence, and Ryze does nothing in that teamfight.
Hate to say it though, there are still a lot of good picks for SKT. At Trundle top lane as an option into Maokai is definitely there, can also just play the Poppy. The Ryze pick forces Huhi on something different now, because Echo is banned. This was, again, the big question coming in. What is he going to play in the mid lane?
Well, we're going to find out. Take a look at this. Kindred locked in for Xmithie. It's one of his best performing champions, and not the Nidalee either.
And CLG are doing what I was thinking. They're going to build a lot of protection around Stixxay. They've got the Soraka Kindred that's so hard to take down the back line. Darshan is the frontline champion, the premier tank in the game right now.
And obviously SKT, they know this. We need to be able to dive the backline. So Poppy comes in, teleports straight into her. Flash engages from a Ryze coming in as well. Either Caitlyn or Kalista are the 2 picks we look at here for Stixxay. Kalista Soraka in itself is a bit of a weird combo. You don't really want to throw the Soraka in, but it does add a bit of extra CC. That's another one. We saw it in the NA playoffs, of course, the Rage Blade Hurricane Tristana.
Much talked about, luckily not often repeated build just yet. 35 seconds before CLG Gaming rounded their team composition, we've seen changes, we've seen tweaks. The last lock-in for SKT could most likely be that support. Are we expecting an army again, or not likely now that the entire dynamic has changed, Kobe?
I think it makes it pretty difficult, but again, that's why SKT are saving their support pick for last. We really emphasize the mid lane counter picks, but really what's been so important as CLG and North America have to find.
It's meant to be a pull a faker.
It's meant to be a counter pick.
It is definitely in the laning phase. A great pick for the Cassiopeia, and there's the Caitlyn as well.
Caitlyn Cassiopeia, locked in and secured. It's the thing that was talked about coming into the tournament. But now we need to see whether or not Huhi can make it work in what could be the very last game that CLG play here.
And one of the reasons why I was saying CLG should go for one of those centric comps is because one of the things they listed in their interviews that they're so confident in, that they actually think they were better than SKT, was their team fighting. They need to prove it.
So, a lot of changes for CLG. They have engaged now with some CC from the Maokai. You have ults from Cassiopeia. You have 2 carries in the late game where you don't want to ignore one of them, but you will have to. I mean, you will be diving on one, get the Cassiopeia or get the Caitlyn, but the other one will go crazy then. Still, SKT's team composition is also great in the late game.
Yep.
Ryze is there. Illusion being buffed up by Anami, getting slows on his auto attacks is something Bang will use a lot. But man, we're gonna get a very explosive game with a lot of team fighting.
SKT looking to finish this out cleanly. CLG finally switched it up here for the last game.
Once again, though, they least coming in for SKT because all they care about is getting river control. They want an early game jungler who can duel against the Kindred or gank a little bit better maybe against the Kindred when you combine the double CC with each other. Obviously, Kindred is a very strong ganker herself, but she has a Cassiopeia who can't set it up as well as Ryze.
The thing is, there's a lot of volatility in this mid lane matchup. These are basically the mage machine gun champions, Ryze and Cassiopeia. A lot of the reason why Cassiopeia is picked into Ryze is not necessarily for hard countering him, but if you get the stun, small windows change the tide of that 1 versus 1. And as you said, Kindred can answer Elise in the early game very well.
We'll find out whether or not Xmithie can handle that pressure from Blank, and whether or not CLG Gaming will bite back.
The key in that one is to save your hail of arrows, your Q on Kindred, to dodge the cocoon. You can't get hit by the cocoon.
Let's find out how it handles. The trophy is 1 game away. The mid-season invitational title is so close to belonging to the LCK. After so narrowly losing out last year in 2015 in Florida. Game 3, CLG, their backs are against the wall. And now they have a chance to bite back. We've seen 2 lane swaps. Game 2 was a lot cleaner and a lot more advantageous for Counter Logic Gaming. Deficio, do you think this game is going to lean towards a lane swap, or where are CLG looking?
Well, the thing is, if CLG are looking at lane swaps and saying we are better than SKT at lane swapping, you can always opt into it just to get an early advantage as a team. Laning-wise, it's very, very strong lanes bottom mid, and look here, early gank.
Oh, a lot of damage. Exhaust comes out. He's in trouble. The bubble will help out. 3 members of CLG come to support. Only Wolf's Exhaust was used. No additional summoner spells, so nothing major. And some deep vision here from Darshan.
Yeah, SKT just trying to force a flash, but who he knew. He had members on top side, hovered up, and no chance of him actually dying, even though it looked pretty close.
Another very early level gank in that mid lane.
And it's definitely crucial that Huhi did hold on to his flash, because as I said, this is one of those mid lane matchups that can turn on a dime, especially if they end up in standard lanes and the junglers get that freedom. Looks like CLG are going to seek it out, though. And once they get some vision, which will be delayed, try and call the lane swap, I think.
Yeah, not seeing anything just yet. Obviously, they know SKT haven't recalled and run to the top side, so they will expect them to be bottom side, and that's why. Yeah. CLG is going top now, saying, you know what, we can actually outplay you in these swaps.
Going for that blind swap. Send the duo up top side.
Are we going to see a Soraka gank mid as well?
Most OP gank ever.
Does not have
level 1 stock roll.
So.
Boom!
But Spell Thieves deals a decent amount of damage there. Aphromoo also cashes in a little bit.
It's a good early trade here. Meanwhile, Darshan is already topside. Only took 1 camp together with X-Smithy. That's very early.
Yeah, so CLG, while they did draft a more standard team fight team comp, they're throwing in some wrinkles here with the early moves.
Why not? Wolf can come up as well. We know he's got that bubble available to him. And not going to find a connection. Hey, here we go. 2v2 mid lane.
It's about to be 3v2 as well, never mind. The junglers are not coming.
And continue trading. He eats that bubble. Takes a little bit of damage, but forced away. And finally, it looks like the supports are going to default to their lane. Okay, so CLG once again on the outer turret ahead of SKT. But SKT will be catching up
Why
shortly.
is Duke up here in the top lane? He has nothing to do in this lane.
He got in range for that melee minion experience. That is why.
That is it.
Not saying it's correct. I'm just saying that's why.
He's slowing down his team now when it comes to pushing his bot lane tower. He also wants to be down here and actually get the gold. You so rarely want to have to waste your teleport just to get a little bit of extra experience. A very greedy play by Duke in this lane swap. No teleport for him, but we'll be able to join on tower.
Yeah, and they use the teleport on that melee minion, so it's going to be a big minion stack on that wave as well.
I'll help out whoever catches it from CLG. Tower will be falling shortly, and we're going to keep an eye on this mid lane. Faker, undefeated on Rise this tournament, 4-0. He's gone 19-24 across those games, and Huhi has picked the theoretical counter. As High chimes in at the reverse sweep.
North America very, very well acquainted with reverse sweeps, and High himself,
the king,
an expert.
But it's funny with these mid lane matchups for CLG because they actually opted into skill matchups every game now for Huhi. SKT is setting up a little bit of a cheese gank here where you're expecting the enemy bot lane to walk by this ward you see down the bottom lane and then you surprise them. But
I like that better. Surprise ganks. Well, most ganks are surprises.
Hopefully.
But the unexpected camp here down in that brush. See how long they wait, because Darshan is Maokai, can throw a sapling.
Yeah, again, so CLG didn't go for the standard rotation here when they take top tower and then go down bottom lane with your dual lane. So actually, they're not going to get anything for now as SKT.
Oh, this is
Maybe.
scary.
No.
Oh, puts the ward down. Darshan playing with his life.
So this obviously means that Bang is alone top lane now. Gets a bit of solo experience, 6 A's here, and we get to even out, get standard lanes instead, and SKT opted in for that gank, didn't gain anything.
Yeah, because of that commitment down bottom for SKT, CLG set up the freeze right in front of their turret. 6A tanks that so that the minion doesn't die, and Bang won't snag that CS.
Oh, now Duke needs to be careful. He knows this wave is going to push towards CLG.
Flash is available. Darshan is looking for the gank. There's support coming for SKT. Defensive flash from Duke. and that will allow Darshan to get in range, but he's down a lot of CS and a full level from his opposite number.
But he does have a wave pushing towards him now.
He has the control, and he also has the vision. That's why Blank is down here next to Duke.
Blank is here because he needs to push it out.
He has to help him, or else Darshan could freeze.
So basically, he's here just to push out the wave. Why not get a bit of gold from a pink ward as well? Smithy's still around, level 5 on this Kindred, but it's a big minion wave. Ooh, Hui's roaming.
Support from Hui. Remember, no flash on Duke. Blank's running for his life. Hui's coming down.
No teleport on the mid lane Faker either. This is a long lane. They're going to get this chase. Duke doesn't have flash, remember.
This could be so big for Counter Logic Gaming. Hui's flashed forward. Duke can't get away. He's exhausted. First blood picked up by Darshan's Maokai.
And SKT didn't give up on that play. They actually had Faker roaming down, so not punished quite as heavily as it possibly could have.
And also the wave in the bottom lane didn't hit the tower yet. So that is still pushing very slowly in towards CLG, and Darshan can now pick up all this farm, and Duke is going to find himself in a very, very bad spot.
That's a very, very good point to bring up.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Because oftentimes when you go for those extensive, three-man committals to pulling off one of those long lane ganks, you lose out on a substantial amount of gold. But CLG right in front of the turret where Darshan wants it.
It is Christmas for Darshan. He's getting everything right now.
Not Christmas for Smithy, though. I believe Blank got that scuttle crab, and the mark denied.
Slow down some of that additional damage from Smithy. So lane swap advantages again being accrued by CLG. 6 minutes in, first blood, and it was on the member of the team who had been starved the most. And is going to continue to farm his way up. 2 culls picked up again for Stixxay and Bang, respectively.
And I love to see junglers then stay around the bottom side when you know this wave is in such a bad spot for Duke, because if he shows up to try and push it out, you just gank him again. He has put up 2 wards in the jungle to try and defend himself, but honestly, you can even lane gank him at this point. You just lock him down with the Maokai.
Yeah, Kindred has so many options. And Smithy here is one of those players that also likes to get the early Hunter's Potions, so you have even more options. Kindred already has a ridiculous amount of sustain in the jungle, but going for the early Hunter Potion as well is a lot about keeping up the mana and the options wide open for you so you can react to what SKT tries to do.
CLG putting value in getting a blue buff though over to Hui for his own lane matchup, instead of being on the bottom side to try and punish Duke even more.
Got to get those bullets for the machine gun mages, Deficio. Blue buff is what they live on, and that will be a theme that we return to in this game.
Do you still think Duke can be shut down even more? Wave is very slowly pushing towards his tower. Darshan now realizing as well he doesn't have any vision in his own jungle, so it actually doesn't belong to him because his own jungle is on top side, spotted. And that's why as a player you always got to be ready to divide the map. Never think this is your jungle if none of your team members are around.
And the choice is there, clear for CLG, as Smithy is able to get the top side mark, plus extend the farm lead over Elise. It is hard for Elise to keep up with the Kindred, but the Dragon started off here. Let's see what CLG's answer for that will be. 100% commitment down here. Blue buff on Rise. Those machine guns take down Dragons very quickly as well, so it's not going to cost Blank as much as you might think.
And normally we could see a play here where you push in the top lane and you set up a TP and you just dive them 4v2. But Duke does have teleport himself and can join in. So it can be a risky play to pull off, especially because you obviously need a bit of time before the Maokai arrives. But I think it is still an option for CLG. At least use it to pressure SKT away from tower and get a bit of damage. Hui's roaming as well.
So this might signal a dive coming out. Look at the mini-map. Teleport could be channeled. There's a ward in behind SKT.
There it is.
And it's being channeled. Here comes Darshan. SKT are in full retreat. Faker's managed to run up. Darshan cancels it and gets some of that cooldown back.
Yeah, again, he just forced him off tower, but that means Duke can TP now.
Oh, as Counter Logic Gaming are in trouble. The 90 caliber net will put some distance away as the heals come out. Flash will knock up Smithy into the air. Lamb's Respite will buy some time. They turn the damage around onto Duke. There is Wolf Bite, and Duke's forced to flash away.
Meanwhile, here comes Faker. He has been able to answer the roam from Hui, and Faker does have flash on Rise. So does Blank.
Flash Cocoon onto Stixxay. The follow-up from Bang is there. The bubble throws up Stixxay into the air, and Stixxay is killed. It's Bang that gets the secure. Hui's going to look for the Petrifying Gaze. He's already channeled it. It was not enough. Hui goes down. SKT have found 2 more.
CLG had the first part down here. Okay, try and threaten the top lane, get them to back away from tower. We get some damage on it. The problem is, as soon as you channel the teleport and cancel, your team needs to run. Because obviously the enemy top lane is going to be like, okay, well, I'm going to go top now, and we have a 4v5.
And those few seconds are crucial. You talked about SKT making a lot fewer mistakes than the other teams. That small mistake from CLG cost them very big. Let's see how much damage Darshan on the Maokai has been able to do down bottom during that time, though.
About 60% on the tower. So this is now Duke joining in. Obviously, if you look at your minimap, you can see how everyone else from SKT is running towards topside, and just Darshan is on the bottom lane. Chase is on. A slower chase than what we're used to, because people don't really have boots yet if you're a faker, poor guy. And also Blank with a beautiful cocoon onto Stixxay.
It's one of those plays of CLG. If you go for that teleport play and you miss it, you mess it up, you have to be ready for the running for the hills, basically, because SKT with a big punish here.
What a difference, because we were expecting Duke to be the weaker of the teleport users coming into the final. We saw a number of missteps and a number of mistimings on that ability. And throughout the course of the series, Duke has played the side lane very well, punished CLG when they're there, and obviously punishing once again the cancel TP play.
And one of the big problems about the play CLG tried to make was it was extremely predictable for SKT, because we saw Xmithie abandon the bottom side despite being able to shut down Duke even more. So like, okay, he's top side. What are they setting up for you? We see him in our jungle. We see who he leave the mid lane. Like, everything was moved towards that top tower. Warp being placed behind, so they knew what was happening. That's why Faker already moved. That's why Blank was on his way. And they basically just waited for the reaction from CLG and said, okay, now you're TPing. We're here to defend. You have to cancel, and now we can punish you. So it's a small play by SKT, constantly following CLG around, but just a little bit too predictable.
And it gives SKT the gold lead, the kill lead. They've got themselves a dragon already. And of course, will be aware that Darshan will have his teleport available sooner. It actually is already available if CLG wanted to set up another proactive play.
If CLG do go for one of those proactive plays, it can come from a Flash Cassiopeia ultimate. You want to hit the ultimate first and then flash after to cancel some of the animation and reduce the reaction time that your opponents do have. Got plenty of time to react now as we jump into the pause.
Luckily for who he, hopefully for him, doesn't have to be the main engage. When you have the Maokai, send him in first. Obviously, we know the backline of CLG here is not going to move with them, a Caitlyn and a Soraka. And that's one of, again, the big things about a pick like Soraka is you don't really create many opportunities for your team to deal damage in fights because you can't CC anyone. You just stay back and you heal up guys and you try and kite back and make sure they don't get bursted down.
And silence, if we count that as a CC, that could be crucial.
Lock them in place.
Those can be, yeah, those can be game-changing, especially if you land it on the rise.
I'll find out if Faker puts himself in a position to, you know, get rooted in place, whether or not Aphromoo can force that. Take a look at some of the differences already. Small CS advantage there for Darshan that has kind of snowballed and trickled from that cancel TP. And of course, who he's 2 roams or 3 roams that we've already seen this game is costing him some CS in that mid lane. Not really looking to go toe-to-toe with Faker just yet, Kobe.
Yeah, and he is going with early Negatron, trying to get to that Abyssal Scepter, because it is very often you're going to get locked into those 1v1s where backing out is extremely costly.
It's a difficult situation here for CLG because they've got no wiggle room when it comes to making mistakes. The moment SKT can get ahead, their team comp can continually force CLG to react. All that skirmish power from the Poppy, the Elise, the Rise, it is terrifying.
CLG, the bonus for them, though, is that they have a pretty good reactive comp here. They've drafted for more standard team fight. If they can try and set up their lines and prepare in advance for it.
I think it's fair to say that the team comp is also somewhat more forgiving. Maokai with his ulti, some Caitlyn traps to buy some zoning space if you're a little bit out of position.
Overall, there was a lot of problems with the team comp they ran in Game 1 and Game 2. First of all, you couldn't win the split push war because there was a trundle. You also couldn't team fight properly because you had no ways of really helping your carries dive the backline because you had no CC from like your own backline here, so you just get dove straight on. Like the Soraka didn't offer anything in that composition because when you run double teleport and you want to flank, you need something that can start the fight.
Right.
And then allow the guys to TP in and obviously join in after. And Soraka can't do that.
Well, it looks like we will be jumping back into the game. A quick client reset seems to resolve the problem for Stixxay. And just to take stock of the situation, 2-1 in kills. even on towers, an extra dragon to SKT.
And now that we also have a Nami back in the meta here, one of the reasons Nami was so good back in Season 3 was a lot of the mages being played was either pure assassins or it was these very low mobility mages. And when you then have a bubble, a tidal wave, it's very, very easy for you to actually force these mages to constantly move around in fights, especially a Cassiopeia who want to sit there and just spam away. If you ulti towards her as a Nami, you force her to move. And if she doesn't, she gets hit by it, she gets CC'd, and she dies. So Wolf does have a bit more presence in fights, more than just being a healing machine like Aphromoo is. And if he managed to land a good ulti, that can be a massive game changer.
The Cassiopeia mechanics are definitely something to keep an eye on. The difference in the small movements between casting spells definitely makes a huge difference. Darshan, this entire time down here on the Maokai has been, having to fend off Blank and having to continually throw out saplings through this
Losing his jungle.
Yeah, rather than trying to build on that lead and try and actually punish that 1 versus 1. This is going to be a 3 versus 1, though.
Darshan sees it, though, and has backed away. Faker, 2-level advantage, plus 20 CS over who he is opposite number. And it looks like Smithy's going to get challenged. There is some support coming up, though. Wolf and Bang will find some contest as Styx and Aphromoo come up. But challenge on the red buff. This could be an advantage for SKT.
All right, no smites. It's just the last hits.
Let's see who's going to take
Smithy's got it. Smithy's got it.
4 members picked up by Stixay, in fact, with the Piltover Peacemaker.
So no smite.
Just
there
the
was a
red
smite available. He does have smite, but Stixay is going to be able to get that with a
good little
instead.
Juke around as well from Smithy. Out of the bubble. Faker now might get ganked.
Flash, Petrifying Gaze just for the slow, but it will force a reactive flash from Faker. So both mid laners somewhat gankable.
And again, the way CLG is trying to play the map right now, it's once again very predictable. SKT has put up tons of defensive wards on top side because they know that's where they play the 2v2 with no tower behind them. So that's where they can get ganked. And then they just have Blank playing on bottom side together with Duke whenever the wave is pushed past the river. So they can always reset it into tower, bounce it back, and then they know, okay, now we have to be careful on top side. So they're playing very, very safe. And they're just trying, honestly, to get into a team fighting point together with CLG.
Yeah, that's why I actually think that CLG are kind of happy with trying to take safe play at the moment. Kindred's going to outscale the Elise. It's going to come down to really, really crucial cocoons from Blank if he wants to have a similar impact, which, to his credit, he did last game have a game-changing cocoon onto Huhi.
There's multiple forms of CC that can come down from SKT when you look at the entire kit. Poppy, Elise, Nami, Xmithy, Cocoon connects. Blank finds him. What's a venomous bite down. Xmithy forced to just dance of arrows away, but that big burst of damage should ensure no contest on Dragon number 2 here for SKT.
Wolf is still only level 5 though, so no ulti for him if he wanted to do anything. But just a nice little setup by SKT. Hover around Dragon, force CLG to move down to push him off, and then Blank is just hiding in the bush.
Yeah, the advantages of brush control and setting up the vision beforehand there. Elise getting the full combo off in a giant chunk is definitely enough.
Well, that small snowball starting to build momentum, starting to roll heavier in favor of SKT. They've not flustered under the pressure that CLG's put on them. In game 3, they are the ones that have come out with the early game lead.
And obviously, while CLG will have a fantastic late game, we look at Maokai, you talked about the Kindred, we know Cassiopeia, Caitlyn, like fantastic scaling on almost everything. Their mid game is going to be weak. You have the Cassiopeia still stacking up her passive, stacking up the tier. Caitlyn, obviously, in the mid game is not very strong compared to Lucian. So SKT have been fine, saying, you know what, let's chill 15, 16 minutes. But now, 1 to 2 items getting completed, we can be really aggressive and we can start making some plays where CLG will not be able to properly teamfight them. So we might get 10, 15 minutes where SKT will really look to control the map.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of jockeying for positioning and trying to set up. Right now, SKT setting up outside the outer turret here, and that one will fall.
And just an easy play again. This is SKT understanding the power spikes of their comp. 1 item fully completed, Rod of Ages on Rise. You know what? We can start sieging up. We're not afraid of CLG ever engaging on us because we actually want to take that fight.
Let's see if CLG pull the trigger. Hurricane and BF sought for Stixay versus that Essence Reaver of Bang. Council Logic Gaming, they've got to play for time. Down 2,500 gold.
It's wave clear time.
Yeah. Wave clear and safety. It's pretty good on the side of CLG, but they've got to be very careful to be in the right lane at the right time. Short range there on both Kindred and Cassio, and Darshan under pressure here from Faker.
And CLG are going to have to put more effort into defensive vision. You can see here with the toggle Fog of War, SKT are doing a good job of moving up the ward line slowly into CLG territory.
And again, one of the adaptations for this tournament was teams came in and put more focus on dragons, because a lot of teams were drafting these team fighting compositions who could scale up. And that's another advantage for SKT in this game. They got 2 early ones, so even if CLG wants to play that waiting game, suddenly it's 4 dragons to 0, and then you're forced into fighting for number 5. And that just gives another opening for SKT in how they can play out this game.
Exactly, and that also means that SKT will have the setup advantage so that they can try and use, again, the Fog of War for the very beginning of it.
Stixxay and Afro going to go toe-to-toe here with Bang and Wolf. Trading relatively evenly. Good amount of sustain on both of these supporters. Wolf is level 6 to Afro's level 6. There's going to be a challenge on CLG's blue buff. This is these ammunition for the spellcasters, but Huhi's nowhere nearby. So even if CLG are forced to secure this, it won't go to the primary target. Hui is going to be able to arrive in time, but look at the rest of the mini-map. There's a challenge. SKT are looking to come in. Afro Mu temporarily silences Faker, and Duke throws down the verdict. Afro's going to go down. Wish will buy just a couple seconds, and Wolf has arrived at the tidal wave. Now Xmithy's in trouble. Lamb's just will buy time. Petrifying Gaze stuns up multiple members of SKT. Everybody's on the respite. They get the heal, but it's Bang that finds the kills. The Arcane Smash will buy some time, and Blank gets away.
Great job by SKT pouncing on that, because they see Stixxay so far away. No AD carry for CLG, even though they're able to collapse here. SKT turn the screws.
It's what we talked about. SKT, they want to fight. They really want you to start taking objectives where they can get a fight around it, because they are so strong at this point.
And the better setup here. I mean, Elise is the one farther away, but immediately moving, and Duke gets the delay knock up there, basically, which allows the DPS members of SKT to have some alone time with Afro Mu.
And you can see on your minimap here, Stixxay is still running from the bottom lane. No chance for him to join the fight, and this is what always happens when you lose every single lane and every single lane starts to get pushed down to your tier 2 towers. You will always react last. The other team will push in. They will eat first, they are the stronger ones, they will move first as well, and you just sit there, you get what you can, but then you also have to realize you can't fight anything, you can't contest anything, because you're never going to be 5.
Well, CLG are 4,000 gold down in 20 minutes, and mentioned that snowball a few minutes ago. SKT are looking to apply more pressure, force CLG to react, and every time they do, SKT is the stronger team right now.
Yeah, the snowball got quite a bit bigger off of that last blue buff contest, by the way. Not even one of the larger neutral objectives to go for.
You mean with a minute till Dragon?
That's a big one.
And CLG nowhere near capable of contesting.
Nope.
SKT are starting to visualize their fingers around that trophy. It's getting closer and closer. CLG need to hold on and try and deny it.
They got to hold on real hard. Reverse sweep is what is required for North America and for CLG to truly surprise. But it starts with coming back from another deficit, another game where they cannot falter, cannot give up. And Darshan, we've already heard from him one of the videos earlier talking about how you have to fight for every inch.
And it's true for SKT as well. I like that a lot of these stories apply to both teams. SKT, they talked about their rough season, not giving up, fighting all the way up through the playoffs to defeat the Rocks Tigers. Then here in the round robin stage, also a very slow start for the team, but fighting themselves all the way up to grab that 4th spot, the last spot to get into the knockout stages, and then running over RNG, the first seeded team here at MSI, in very convincing fashion.
Yeah, no doubt at all. SKT have pushed a lot of vision into the CLG jungle in this bottom quadrant. Dragon is up, remember, but SKT are saying, we dare you to walk forward. Will CLG do it? Xmithy's got no flash, will dance over the wall and hasn't fallen for the bait.
You're at this point in the game as CLG where you don't want to fight the Dragon. But you also realize that you can't keep giving up all these free objectives, because the next thing for SKT is you just move the vision you have on the bottom side to the top side, and you start doing exactly the same around Baron, and that's where CLG will have to fight. You cannot give over a free Baron to SKT, because they will use it just to push every single lane down. Right
now, CLG's first priority is defense. They need to regroup around their turrets and huddle until there's an opening. They have to wait for SKT to back to Fountain to try and set up a pocket of vision. If you're this far behind as CLG, one of your only hopes is pulling off one of those small pockets of vision. If you concentrate your efforts in one area and go for one of those pink ward plays, that's the only aggressive play. Other than that, you have to hold the turrets. You have to farm out.
CLG's comp, though, really only does well when teams are running at them.
That's why a pocket of true sight vision would be huge.
Exactly, but in order to get that, as you just talked about, it requires SKT to back, probably fall asleep a little bit as well, and then suddenly give you an opening
Nap time
on the map, you know? Technically, that should never happen. So for SKT, as long as they don't overextend a blind face shake at a poor time, they will get some of these fights where it's CLG who has to run at them. And they can't really with their composition because they're the ones chasing the gold lead, they're the ones chasing SKT around the map. And then you get this face check onto a Baron, flanking happens, and it becomes very, very difficult.
Who he is still down in CS, but keeping himself relevant. Abyssal Scepter completed, sitting on 1,200 gold. Faker, on the other hand, 2 kills and assist. Already, QSS, get rid of that CC that can come down from multiple sources. And that is going to be a big problem for CLG. One of the great tools they had was to try and lock down Faker, maybe burst him out. This makes it exceptionally more difficult. Blue buff challenge all over again.
Fighting for it again.
Looks like who he should be able to pick this one up. SKT just a tad too slow.
Yeah, big difference here is that the 4-man squad of CLG are together. Teleports would be available for both of those top laners as well, but in going for that blue buff, give up a decent amount of damage on this turret because the dragon stack in there is that burn. Just a couple of autos do a decent amount of work chipping away at it.
Yep, and SKT is just waiting again for a few more minutes to pass by so they can start taking that Baron, or at least threaten the Baron. Early on in the game is still risky for you to do. So get a bit of damage on towers. Do not waste your teleport if you are Duke. You save it, match Dashon. That's all you have to do.
We'll find out how SKT continue the siege. Stixxay's finally arrived. He was shoving out that top wave, and that's what allowed SKT to continue to siege up. Duke, on the other hand, he's going to get some hammers down onto that bottom inner turret. And SKT, again, playing the map very well, using Duke's strength all series long, really, to keep Counterlogic Gaming on the back foot, reacting and playing defensively.
And it's always just so key at looking at who has first priority on pushing waves, because that's the ones who can push it down first, then start roaming again. Oh, they're going for Smithy.
Oh, Smithy's in trouble, and he's killed.
Beautiful pick there from Blank. No hesitation from any of SKT, and that is going to put the pressure on CLG. The pockets of true sight are in SKT's favor. 1 blue trinket's available for Stixxay. He just uses it now on Baron. That will be killed, and SKT return to the bait.
Oh, looking for the face check. Faker's found Afromu and has taken him down. The tidal wave locks up Huhi. Petrifying Gaze not going to be enough to matter. SKT have killed 4 members of CLG, and now they can go back.
Snowball is huge right now. SKT just add 5 layers on top of it.
Dashon will be run down here by Faker. Those overloads again and again and again. Dashon, Sap Magic Lifesteal simply not enough. And Ace and the Baron at 25 minutes.
And that was the play. SKT right now is playing everything by the book. They're playing everything perfectly. They know they're much stronger in the mid game. Set up these picks around the Baron with your pink wards. Instantly, they just engage onto CLG. Nothing they can do at this point. Your jungler is already dead. Your support dies instantly. Afternoon now is trying to get some revenge on Faker.
Just runs away, unleashes the power. Still has flash and exhaust, by the way. So if anything else happens, got some additional tools.
Yep, some very powerful additional tools there, quick shot. Baron buff at 26 minutes here for SKT. They do go for the recall, though. A lot of gold to spend here, and that is going to be the trifecta of AD carry items for Bang on Lucian right now. Plus, he's going to have the elixir on top of it. Very, very big push now for SKT with this Baron buff.
It's a 10,000 gold lead, and Blank wants to extend it more. Already forces the flash away from Stixxay. 90 caliber net buys some additional space, but that's just an easier target for the next team fight. SKT have continually gotten better with every single game, and Blank on this Elise has been phenomenal all series long. Oh, Dashon's just going to get cut down. Blank is coming in from the side. There's some support from Huhi, but it won't matter. Vengeful Maelstrom and Sap Magic buys some time. Huhi's used the Petrifying Gaze. They've not got a kill. Blank body blocks the shot, and Faker runs for his life. The poison's not going to be there. Trap Magic will not be enough. Smithy gets the Lamb's Respite. Buys some time with the Hex Trigger Shield as well. And Duke is tanking up everybody.
Bang!
He's on a trap! He manages to get one before going down. Huhi is dead. Stixay's got red buff, and if he can find some slows, maybe can get more damage. SKT with a small misstep. They overextend. Duke's looking for the stun. Stun Stixay against the wall. The silence onto Duke. Stixay 90 calibers away. Continues to chase. Duke's got himself one. Now Stixay's got between 3 members of SKT. That's a double. That's a triple. Duke's looking for the quadra kill, and it will be secured by Faker. Counter Logic Gaming are aced at 28 minutes.
CLG try and put their foot in the door to get back into this game, but SKT slam it shut.
Faker making sure Duke doesn't get too many highlights here. Like, that last kill is his. The quadra kill, no. That's for Faker, not for Duke. Know your place on the team.
It looked like it could have gone so well for CLG, but here's that replay one more time.
Yeah, a little bit over-aggressive by SKT. You see the rest of the members are still running down towards the bottom lane, so it's actually a good response by CLG, but still, you are so far behind that a puppy can just run around, don't care about the damage you deal, have enough damage to actually take you down. Another good setup, takes down Bang, but now here SKT is saying, guys, we have done this before. We are used to fighting with someone dying first and still turning it around. Wait for the bubble from Wolf. Straight onto Stixay, then you charge him into the wall, fight is on.
Yep, great setup right there, and then the convergence of all of SKT. Duke has his eyes on the backside, runs right past Stixay to grab the extra 2 kills and clean up CLG. And looks like they're going to clean up this game as well. They're knocking at the doors. CLG haven't let them in yet, though. They're still holding on.
Got the traps.
The trap wall.
That trap wall is not going to do a whole lot, because Counter Logic Gaming are down 13,000 gold. Trying to defend this tower, using the Hurricane to as much use as they can from Stixay. The tower's not going to get pressured for SKT. Look at Faker's positioning on the side. If anyone steps too far forward, they are just going to get insta-gibbed by SK Telecom.
Potentially just one last fight for CLG. They need SKT to just overextend and punish them.
Well, Tidal Wave will be used to secure this tower. No real contest. Huhi will have flash available in a few minutes' time. That Petrifying Gaze has not been as important as it needed to be. Good damage from Stixay into Bang, though.
Yeah, the secondary turrets are not the ones to make your last stand on. It's much easier for SKT to circle around and close in on you at the secondaries. CLG are trying to hold inhibitor turrets. This is where SKT move for their push inside.
It's going to be the battle for Helm Steve all over again. Protect your base, don't let them in. Just keep shooting, keep poking.
Traps will give some damage to Stixay. Faker's unloaded the power. Huhi is pinned against the wall. Lamb's Respite just on the edge. Keeps him alive for a few more seconds. But Duke's the one that's going down. Doshon's buying time. Stixay shuts him down. That's 1 kill. This is where they fight. This is where they hold them. Blanks the target, but they found a kill. It's a rampage for Faker. He's forced away. Double kill for Stixay. It's a double kill for Faker. They've traded 2 for 2, but crucially, the tower still stands.
Yes, that one will count for CLG. They hold the line. Trading even on kills is okay for them at this point in the game.
So SKT realizing they can't just run headfirst into the base of CLG. They will never give up. We have seen this multiple times. Dragon, number 5 in a few minutes. Baron in 1 minute and 30 seconds. Now this is the fight, so CLG are just staying ready for back. Who he tries to engage will have the Kindred ulti to keep him alive, but he doesn't get a proper engage at first. Duke tanking off the tower, goes down as well. Keep in mind, CLG's comp is designed to kill you when you run at them, especially when you have a tower next to you.
Again, another key cocoon from Blank in that one. Locked up Aframu, put a stop to the healing for CLG, and allowed SKT to go even in the kills there, at least for them. This time around, Huhi doesn't have the flash available for a surprise Cassiopeia play. Even though that one did fizzle out and fail in the last fight, it made Duke start tanking the turret early and put a lot of damage from the turret there from CLG onto the main tank of SKT.
And you have your book here full of all different kinds of ways to win the game. running headfirst into enemy tower is now crossed out from SKT. They go down to point number 2, is wait for 5
That
dragons.
was on the list?
That was the first one now.
What kind of list are you running?
I make my own
Invitational?
list, man. That's the list. I've seen Coma's list, that's the one. Second part is wait for 5 dragons or Baron, and then do the same.
Baron in 30 seconds. Dragon number 5 in around 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. And Counterlogic Gaming are in a 13,000 gold hole. If SKT make mistakes, CLG can bring this back, but it is reliant on punishing a mistake or pulling off a miraculous play. This is not a situation that you expect a team to come back from.
Well, here comes the trigger finger because Baron's about to pop back up, and that is one thing that might pull CLG out of their defense.
Smithy's going to be able to queue over the wall. Good damage.
Blank.
Turn their attention to Blank. Blank has repel, remember, but he won't get it off. Stixay's got himself a kill. There's a teleport from Duke. He's going to get rooted. He landed on a trap. That was well played by Stixay. The hammer comes down in CLG. They've bought themselves more time.
It's not over yet, boys. Faker's going in.
Faker gets Darshan. The Aqua Prison locks him down. Duke has a Guardian Angel. Smithy jumps forward. 5v4. They turn their attention to Duke, but remember he comes. Look at Bang. Lamb's Respite will continue to buy time. Jumping onto Lamb's Respite. Duke's in trouble. Who's going to be the first to die once in time? Faker's shut down. He's killed. He picks it up after he was the target, but they've lost Afro. They've lost Smithy. Huhi and Stixay have to do work. Stixay's looking for more. GA pop by Duke channels the shot. Ace in the hole won't pick up the kill, but the net, the 90 caliber. He goes down. Duke's going massive. 4, 2, 9, and Wolf saves SKT's life. It's a 3-for-1 turnaround.
They're pushing down the mid lane now. Bang and Wolf together. Stixay is coming with Darshan.
Let's see if they can lock them down. Darshan's looking for the target. Darshan's taking a whole lot of damage. Aqua Prison on cooldown and not a lot of mana. But look at the minions in both top and bottom lane.
That's going to be CLG trying to clear off the minions, but SKT probably go for this Baron. And that is going to be their next sieging tool. Man, Wolf there, allowing for the escape. Really, really crucial execution
Wolf
there.
saved everything.
So this Nami pick is coming up huge.
Because now you can get the Baron. There's even 25 seconds on Dragon, so it's not like CLG can try and trade it or anything with just Stixay. You get Baron buff, you can make a push, you can then return, take Dragon number 5, make another push. The fights are getting closer and closer.
The entire venue held their breath during the course of this team fight. Let's take a look at it one more time.
The 4 versus 5 from SKT here. They have the Guardian Angel on the Poppy, which ends up being crucial. This right here, Duke makes so many plays. Gets the wall stun onto Huhi, and that also takes down the Cassiopeia ultimate. Lamb's Respite is a big part in getting CLG to this point even in the team fight.
Oh
my God, another one.
Alive. Darshan, Vengeful Maelstrom on the front line. He's going to go down shortly. The passive buys some time. Soraka's healing him. Darshan is still alive. Darshan finally goes down. What more can SKT take? Stixay puts the damage onto Blank. Tries to sidestep a predicted cocoon, but it wasn't fired.
This is Dragon number 5. That's why CLG are out on the map fighting this. Baron buffed up SKT are looking to force this soon-to-be Dragon 5 buffed up SKT.
Yeah, there's no tank alive for CLG, so they have to just back away. This is gonna be a fight in their base. Once Darshan is back alive, 25 seconds for him.
I don't know if they... Well, Blank went back to base, so...
15,000 gold down. A Baron down. Aspect of the Dragon down. CLG could not have picked a harder way to play what might be the final game here at the MSI 2016 in Shanghai.
Oh, the damage is insane now as well. With the Dragons mid lane being pushed in by Duke, Faker's coming on the bottom side. CLG almost just have to try an ulti engage from Huhi and take down one guy.
And they have to go now. SKT are closing in from all sides. Their eyes on the prize. The trophy here at MSI standing in the middle of the arena.
And
Turrets
SKT
going down.
have opened up the base. Counterlogic Gaming, 1 minute to fend off this Baron, and then they still have to survive the remainder of the aspect time. Darshan's trying to go toe-to-toe with Duke. The rest of SKT on the mid inhibitor, chunking it down. Bang, dashes forward. Look at the damage onto Smithy. He's forced away. He's going to get chunked out by that volatile spiderling. A cocoon onto Darshan allows him to get chunked. The first inhibitor falls. The second nearly immediately after. And SKT, they're looking at the Nexus. Fake has gone up to the top lane as Smithy once again is burst down. CLG have to heal up and try to to re-engage.
Yeah, SKT just staying around, knowing super minions are on their way. Last tower goes down. CLG only have the Nexus turrets.
Doshan's in trouble. He decides to engage on Wolf Infil. Maelstrom buys some time. Lamb's Respite will keep CLG alive for a few more seconds, but this feels like the final fight. Petrifying Gaze didn't lock anyone up, but the hammer did. Duke throws CLG into the air. He picks his hands up as SKT have got 4 members down. They turn their attention to the Nexus, and SK Telecom continue to rule the world, and they are your mid-season invitation.